It's sound design, it's music choice, it's pacing, structure, shot selection, all these subtle nuances that are being put into a video really take it that extra mile. I would say that's the differentiating factor.
And for those that say that that doesn't matter, it does matter. It matters 100%.
I heard they checking for me, no one checking on me, so I had to go run up a check.
Brennan, JT, thanks for joining me tonight on this. We are talking about scaling your real estate agency to 100K per month. It's a number and a feat that many seem to believe is impossible, but Brennan has done it in multiple agencies. Is that true, Brennan?
Yeah, we have Aerial Canvas out in San Francisco that's consistently doing $400,000 or $500,000 a month, and then we have Acre Seattle, which is we're touching 200,000 almost. So
that's incredible, and that's in Seattle, which is, I would say, is a pretty tough market. You have a lot of days that are just write-off days, right? Rain and just weather.
Weather's definitely something we have to navigate and work around. And it's not just my two agencies. Like at our mastermind, we've been able to help a lot of agency owners go from 15,000 to 50,000, from 50,000 to 150,000 even a month.
Okay.
And there's a recipe for this. And, I guess for a lot of average, real estate photographers that are just getting started, I remember when I was getting paid $10 an hour, coming out of college. And I thought that was like, decent. It was enough to buy a 24 pack of Keystone Light. And, those are the good old days. And now I've seen a lot of agency owners stack $10,000 a month, additional to what they're already doing just by implementing some good strategies.
So I got to ask you a question. How long has Aerial Canvas been around? Like, when was it actually founded, the first Aerial Canvas?
So I joined the party there. Colby, my business partner, was doing it from 2017 to 2018 for a year, and he was able to get to $15,000 a month on his own. And then he was kind of doing everything. He was doing admin, editing, both on photo and video. He was, scheduling and shooting, and he was doing the whole nine. And he's like, Brendan, I'm exhausted. I'm working 80 hours a week doing everything. And we were able to contract out different parts over time and systematize things and scale up from there.
That seems to be a running sentiment, is people are like, when they get to a certain point, they're just like, I'm burnt out with this. They almost can't see like an exit strategy. I know that's how I felt probably about a year ago when I started implementing changes. We've talked throughout the years. I've been doing this since 2018, so roughly about the same time as Aerial Canvas. And for the first couple of years, I thought I was doing amazing. I was doing like just under 90,000, almost 100,000. I thought it was amazing to do it part-time like that. I started taking it really serious in 2021 when I quit my full-time job. I was a software engineer, decided that wasn't for me anymore, jumped into real estate full-time. And we were doing about like 100,000, just under 100,000. Some years like maybe just over. The COVID boom hit, and while it was amazing for real estate agents, it absolutely sucked for videographers because houses weren't sitting on the market too long. And I had to make some changes. I think that's when I discovered Acre Partners. I started researching things. I started talking to you, and I started implementing subtle changes that we had discussed into my workflow and my business. Now, fast forward 2025, I mean, we're just a little bit over 50,000 a month with a team of 4. That's 3 shooters and an admin, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I would have never have guessed that, this is where I would be now. Almost, we're going to probably do just a little over $500,000 this year, possibly more, depending on how the year wraps up. But it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, and you're crushing it in a very competitive market. Tampa is not easy.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of Tampa's kind of like LA and Miami. There's a lot of, people that move there for good weather and then have a camera and then like, wow, it's actually expensive to live here. I need to make more money. Let me offer, free shoots, to make money.
Yeah, that's what I was discussing with JT. I said it's a very saturated market. It's become increasingly saturated with everybody figuring out real estate is a thing that you can do. And it's somewhat problematic for existing agency owners. But it can be even more problematic for those that are just trying to come into the market. I mean, obviously every market I feel is big enough to support, whatever it needs. But yeah, Tampa is definitely like sort of like a mini, I want to say it's like a mini Fort Lauderdale. I feel like that's what it feels like some days.
Yeah, I think there's potential in every market. I've seen people in Montana doing 50K a month. I've seen agencies carve out like their own like brand in very competitive markets in LA and go from 0 to 20, 30K a month because they're actually taking the time to invest in their product and their skills. And, I've seen agencies struggle. Like yesterday, I talked to an agency owner out in Vegas and I looked at their website, I looked at their work, and I'm just like, yeah, you're not going to be able to charge more than $200. You're selling a commodity here, and there's nothing that differentiates you. You're complaining about, getting back to your clients that are demanding, and that can be solved for. If you just put in a VA who has the patience to handle all of that, because at some point, I think all of our patience runs thin with
100%.
dealing with agents, and just like either that's going to hit your bottom line and hurt you in the way you show up to your business and for your clients, or you're going to just work smarter and put your money to work for you and hire a VA, at a reasonable $10 an hour that can handle a lot of these communications for you at a high level. That actually do it better than I would, because I don't have the patience for a lot of these agents these days.
100%. Well, I want to introduce JT. JT Visuals. This is a man that probably needs no introduction. And chances are, if you watch my channel, you've probably stumbled across some of his wild Instagram reels. It'll literally, whether you care about real estate or not, it will make you stop where you're at and watch it and be like, holy shit, that was amazing. And a lot of times people mention JT's reels to me. They're like, they'll show me, I have clients, they'll show me his reel, I'll be like, I want this. And I'm like, I don't know if you can afford that, but talk to me about what you really want. So JT, go ahead and just introduce yourself for anybody here on YouTube that doesn't know who you are. Tell us a little bit about you and your business and brand.
Yo, let me introduce JT. He's too cool to introduce himself. JT is someone I admire because the creativity in his like left pinky is probably, all of me combined on a good week when I'm hitting a streak. So I've seen his reels. First time I saw his reel, like I was compelled to just share it, even though it wasn't mine. I was just like, click share. If people see this on my IG first, they're gonna think I'm like the guy who is plugged into like the best in the industry. So that was my selfish reason to share his work. I got a lot of people commenting, but then I saw his reel and I'm like, dude, this guy's got like 5 million views on this one reel. I think it's 7 now. And it was just nuts. Up. And I looked at your other work, JT, and I realized that it's not just a one-hit wonder. Like the formula to create virality and to create share-worthy reels. Like you don't need virality, because virality sometimes it's just like you're getting lucky, right, with the algorithm. Yeah. But like to consistently get 10, 20, 50, 100K views. Yeah.
It's repetition. He's able to consistently recreate it. So talk to us about like, what's the formula here, man? What are we missing? What's the sauce we're missing?
Yeah, no. Well, first off, I'll start off by saying thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate it. Just like you guys both, I also started JT Visuals in 2017. I didn't get into real estate though until about 2023. I had shot a few homes, here and there, 2020 to 2022, maybe just a handful of homes. But yeah, I really am addicted to the creative process. A thought that always goes through my mind is I kind of view myself like a professional athlete when it comes to creating content. I just obsess over it, and I've definitely put in the 10,000 hours to think creatively and train my creative muscles. And real estate, I just love architecture too. I love architecture and design, and it was a natural just bridge for me to kind of take my skill set from one area. I started in fitness with with an influencer named Steve Cook, helped build his YouTube channel from 600K to 1.2 million subs. And I just got in my daily reps working with him and a bunch of other industries and combined it all together into real estate. And yeah, I mean, the simplest way to boil down the sauce is just make videos that people want to watch. And it sounds so simple and so stupid, but
what have you found that people want to watch when it comes to real estate? Because obviously you got agency owners, everybody seems like they look the same, right? We have this problem. It's like the clone effect. So what have you done? Because I mean, I'm serious. Like I watch one of your videos and I know it's like, you know, you can tell it's like your video because it's got a feel, right? Like you're sitting there, you're watching, it's got a feel, it's got this certain polish to it that I notice others lack. So what is it like that you feel like is like your claim to fame with that?
I have told this to many, many people. I think that the invisible layers are the most powerful layers. So not what you're seeing in the video, it's what you're hearing and what you're feeling. And when you combine what you hear and what you feel with what you see, it creates a complete package. Most of the industry right now is stuck on one thing. They're stuck on copy pasting the agent disappearing effect. They're stuck on copy pasting the speed ramps. They don't understand the invisible layers that are happening underneath those things. And those invisible layers are a lot of things. It's sound design, it's music choice, it's pacing, structure, shot selection, all these subtle nuances that are being put into a video that really, really take it that extra mile. I would say that's the differentiating factor.
And for those that say that doesn't matter, it does matter. It matters 100%. Brendan, what's up?
Yeah, I had a chance to listen to JT break it all down over the course of 2 hours in Austin a few months back, and there's things that I didn't really like. I consider myself a pretty smart person. You know, I got a great score on my ACT. I went to a good college. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're a genius." I'm like, "I'm smart, but I don't feel like I'm a genius." And then JT broke it down, and he made complex concepts, which are like, if you really think about it, it takes time to master. And he broke it down. And the two things I got from it is, in this day in society, like, you got to keep people on their toes. Like, he will introduce random like visuals that rehook the audience, like 3 seconds in, and you're like, oh, I get it, this is a cool video. And then all of a sudden, like 10 seconds in, you see something else you wouldn't expect, and you're like, wow, this is unique. I'm gonna keep watching, because I literally, like, it's like watching a movie trailer. Sometimes you watch it 10 seconds in, you're like, I know what's gonna happen in this movie.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden you see a scene and you're like, what like, I would never have expected that. And all of a sudden you want to watch the movie in its entirety. And I feel like that's what happens with JT's videos. It's less like 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. There's always something unexpected. It's like that song that's just like, oh, I know what this song is going to be like. And then all of a sudden, like, like this rapper comes in and you're like, damn, this like that was unexpected. So I love that JT does that with not just the visuals, but also the music. So when you roll that all in,
and I think it needs to be that way. Too often we get very complacent in just doing one thing when it comes to marketing or the videos. I mean, it's the same be said for YouTube. Like, people always say, like, well, how come you blew up faster than so and so? And it's because of that level of unpredictability that we have here on this channel, that people watch and they will subscribe, because they don't know what's going to happen. People don't want to show up to something if they know the outcome. So when you don't know the outcome of something, it makes things just so much more enjoyable, so much more interesting, whether they care about what it is that they're watching or not. I mean, that's what makes, all content really, consumable, is the level of unpredictability. I think and that's the problem. I feel like that's sort of lost in the sauce of things right now, is people do go through the motions of just, it's too predictable, right? It's too predictable.
Yeah. I'm going to ask a really big question, because I feel like this is something that a lot of creatives in real estate media struggle with. Is what you're doing, JT, scalable? Because I feel like it's hard to scale, right? We brought you in to give some coaching to our team at Aerial Canvas. You know, you helped a lot of people level up, but how do you can you scale that out to do a you know 100K, or is this something that is more like the concept car, is that you use it to just reel people in, and most
Yeah.
agents, they can't afford like 5K for your flagship video, and they'll just, you know, spend 1,000 with you.
That's such a great question, because that's a natural segue into, I mean, we're all business owners here. We're trying to figure out, how do we scale this agency? Once we find something that works, how do we make it work more and work over and over again? And the interesting thing is, just like the skill set that you've created, Brendan, you could go into any business right now and you could identify the systems, operations, and procedures. You could refine them, reiterate them, and build that business to scale. I have the same skill set with creating videos. And so it's not that the video itself is scalable, it's the skill set you develop to make those videos, because I can now go to any industry I want, do the same thing with that. And if I want to stick to real estate, that's totally fine. My goal, and this is something that I really want to dive into in our workshop that we're going to be doing together in LA, is teaching you the fundamentals, giving you the tools, giving you the resources, giving you access to understand how to make these frameworks work. My goal is not to make you a copy paste, this is how you do this effect, but to understand, this is why we do this effect. This is why we pick this music. This is why we get this shot. And that is what is scalable, because the more value you provide to your clients by having those skills available to you, having those tools in your tool belt, that's how you start charging more. That's how you start becoming more useful to not only agents, useful to the brokerages, useful to the builders who built the home, useful to the developers who own the development, the whole community. That's how you really scale and hit those 100K and beyond using this type of strategy.
So with the strategy, with the skill sets you have there, and the work that you're doing, we all seen the reels. And if you guys haven't, I'll be sure to link down below JT's Instagram. Go check him out if you don't know what we're talking about, or you're just stumbling across this podcast. So you've got these skill sets, you've got like sort of this blueprint, this architecture of how to do what you do. What does that do in regards to, you know, revenue? Because everybody like, well, what could this do? Small market, big market, you know, revenue wise, what could that do in the grand scheme of things for you, or for somebody that's looking to take what you know and apply it to their business, no matter where they're at in the country?
JT, I'm gonna steal this mic one more time for you. You. When my business partner Nathan Brown showed up in Austin and listened to what JT had to say,
okay,
he went from being, you know, sometimes selling $1,500, $2,000 videos to now consistently selling $4,000 full-blown luxury portfolio projects to agents that want the real deal. And he was inspired to do that through JT. And I think that is probably half of the reason why our average order value at Seattle, we do like 150 projects on a given month, sometimes 200 projects, went from last year, I kid you not, was around 650, 700 on a good month, to now being closer to 900, 950. And I think that was pulled up because of how many luxury, you know, like listing campaign level shoots we're doing for luxury. And I think that should be a testament for what is the benefit. You can literally double your invoices if you know what can get agents better results.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, and I'm glad you jumped in with Nathan, because he's a really great example of what Acre Seattle is able to do, the volume game and the specialty game, and they do it so well. That is, I think it's important for anybody watching to understand, I'm in a very, very small market. Average home price here is 500K. There's a population of 200,000. I don't have millions of people. I don't have thousands of agents to contact. I don't have $30 million homes to go film on a daily basis. And my average order value is still triple my competitors. And I'm able to.
What's your average order value, JT?
I'm 1,300 right now.
So that's incredible. Like that's like, and that's And that's one of the biggest objectives that I've had from people, or things in their way. They're like, oh, I can't do it. I'm in a small market. It doesn't exist here. So if you're in a small market, obviously you're 1,300, you're in a super small market. What's your solution to be in a market like that and extracting that type of average ticket?
Again, it goes back to the value I provide to my clients. I'm not an order taker for them. They don't show up and say, hey, I want a vanilla latte with this and this and this in it. They show up and they say, JT, you're the expert. Can you tell me what I need? And then I have that conversation with them, and I walk them through the whole process, and I'm developing tools that I use personally that have helped me solve issues that I deal with on a daily basis. I use those tools with my clients, and they see the value, not only the video itself being above and beyond what their expectations are, but then they know what to do with it. They know how it works, how it's helping them, and they know how to follow through with all that. So there's a lot of value that's going on that's not just listing photos and floor plans. It's so much more than that.
Right. You're a full service one stop shop for them to be able to get the maximum results. The reality is, guys, is that if you're in this industry, you have to be the expert. You don't go to your doctor and ask them, hey, you don't tell them what's wrong with you. They're going to tell you what you need. Vice versa with any type of specialty industry, and real estate's obviously no different. We have to lead and take the reins back from the clients sometimes, because sometimes that's going to render the maximum results. And that's even right down to with my clients. I'm providing them SEO tags. I'm providing them descriptions. Quite literally, when somebody purchases a video even from me, it's a soup to nuts, like concierge service is what they are getting. Because when you're paying X number of dollars, it's sort of demanded to have a certain result with that price tag sometimes. And granted, sometimes it doesn't always work that way, but that's what we try to provide. We're providing concierge service. And once I changed my mentality from just showing up, and it's so funny that you stumbled across this, I stumbled across this. And this shows the replication of it works, is when you change that mentality, no matter what market you are in, it will work. I followed JT for a while, but I don't know any of his methods. I don't know how he ran his business. Same thing with Brennan. I've known Brennan. I've only applied some, things that he's shown me, and it immediately, it's sort of weird now how it matter how big your market is or small the market is. It just works all the same. The same tactics work, no matter where you're at. It's sort of incredible to see.
Not only that, too, there's versatility in it. You can go whichever route you want to go. You can go that super white glove service, like you just described, and charge significantly more, do less projects, charge significantly more. Or you can go the volume route, like Brendan is so good at doing with all of his agencies. And I've been in the weeds with Aerial Canvas, like you mentioned. I've talked to all their editors. I've worked with them, training them, and I've trained dozens of other editors who have also produced videos that are responsible for millions of views. That it is repeatable and it is scalable once you understand how to develop those skill sets and how to develop that taste. But the beauty is you can go either way. Like you can become that white glove concierge service, or you can go the volume route and just produce a higher quality, better, more useful video.
Yeah, I think the theme is leverage. Whatever you're doing, if you have a really strong skill set, you have like insane leverage. Like if you can create a really good video, that video can convert 5 times better than your average video. And for someone whose reputation is important to them, whose attention that they get is always limited, because we're all fighting for attention from the greater market. If that video can convert 5 times better to the right agent, it's worth up 10 times, 20 times more. And when you're selling it for 5x, you're giving them a great deal. They're getting a 4x ROI on 5 times exposure and, let's just say twice as much impact, because their audience is worth so much more than the average agent. Especially if they can sell a $20 million listing. That commission check alone, if they're doing a standard commission, is well in excess of $500,000. So what is 5,000? What is 10,000? That is, 2% of the commission check. And, that's what like Stephen Caban in our mastermind has talked about, how he's able to close $53,000 invoices with developers, because for them, the holding cost of a $40 million property of not getting it sold or having it vacant
carrying
is literally
costs are
costing
huge.
them like 10K a day. So if they
Mhm.
can sell it for 5 days faster, it's already paid for itself.
Yeah, exactly. And it really is about leverage. I mean, I find the same thing here is that, like I said, we have probably, 10, 15 different media providers. And I still feel like here in the Tampa market, we're still like my company is still one of the dominant, providers that are here, still doing like high level, high caliber work. And again, it goes back to combining some of the things that JT talks about is like it's those invisible layers. We have those invisible layers because I have clients that will tell me all the time, like, hey, there's just a certain polish, a certain feel to what you're doing. Like there's a care, and that care, even though you can't see all the underlining components of what we're producing, it matters to these people. And also how we make the clients feel when we're on site. Like it's never a rush. It's always about them. Like we really do try to do that. Like I'm not saying I kiss people's ass here, but we sort of go that next level to sort of make them feel like at that moment they are the most important person on on the planet. And it works. And you have to do that, especially if you're in a saturated market. And I tell people all the time is like, ask your clients that you're working with and who they've tried and like what they didn't like or what they didn't feel. And sometimes it's simple. It's like, hey, they just don't make them feel comfortable on camera. They won't get on camera. They're not telling them why. They're not educating them. Education is a huge aspect of this industry. And the more you educate your client, the smarter customer you create. A smarter customer you create, you're going to keep them coming back. They're going to keep them coming back over and over again.
There's a theme that I think is bigger within this growth that we're all experiencing. And there's a quote that I love, become a millionaire for the person you become in the process, right? To be worthy of creating that much value for yourself and for others.
Yeah.
People think I'm braggadocious when I say, between all my companies, we're doing $1.2 million a month. I'm making good money from that, but I am helping others make out of that 1.2, $1.1 million a month. I am helping put that much wealth and pay into other people's pocket to be able to create that much wealth for myself. And so, if you want to make money, you got to help other people make money. And the question I have for both you, Ken, and JT, if you were just extracted from your market and all of your personal connections and you were plopped into any other major metro with zero connections, how fast do you think you can get back to where you're at now with the skills that you have? Because that's what I think is the most valuable. Like we take you and JT or myself and we move ourselves in another industry, or another city.
Yeah.
I reckon we could create our own, a similar level of success in a year.
I think, it would probably take me, I would say probably maybe 6 months or less to get back to where I'm making sustainable, like good money where I'm at right now. It wouldn't take me long. And that's the thing is when you have a unique product and you have a unique skill set, you tend to be the brightest, most shiniest thing in that market. And all it takes is one. And that's why I tell people all the time, just like that video that JT has over 7 million videos, all it takes is one thing to set, everything on fire. And, people take that for granted, but it's a real thing. I don't think it would take very long not for me anyways.
Yeah, I would say I could probably get back to where I am in 90 days, no problem. Also wanted to add something here. If my younger self is watching this right now, I want you to pay attention to the last few minutes because there was so many golden nuggets that I wish I would have heard 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 3 years ago. Brendan brought up a brilliant point about leverage and using those skill sets that you have to create that leverage and move that needle forward and become the person that a millionaire is in the process of becoming a millionaire.
Yeah.
And that's what really drew me to working with Brendan and starting to collaborate on these projects and working with Ken is the call that we have to actually produce not only the business for ourselves, become, financially relevant for ourselves, but to help other people do it. I want to help my younger self get to where I am 10 times faster. That's what motivates me. But yeah, I think within 90 days, no problem, I could get to the point that I'm at now, maybe even beyond, maybe even pass that up, because if you take yourself out of your comfort zone and you don't have any connections and you don't have anybody to rely on, that might push you even further and make you realize, hold on, I'm actually not thinking big enough here.
Yeah. I know 2018 me had nobody to bounce ideas off of, had nobody to figure out what I was doing wrong. You know, you're sort of like, and that's what I tell people all the time is like, we have resources. Acre Partners has resources upon resources. So you don't have to use that old trial by fire type of mentality, because every mistake and every rabbit hole you go down that has a dead end is wasted time you can't get back. And for me, the most precious thing is time at this moment. And it's funny, I'll be completely honest with you, and Brendan could attest this. I've been one of Brendan's biggest critics. And it was mostly because I misunderstood him for a long, long time. I always thought, I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Why does he put like these stupid ass conversation starters? And, you know, I'll be honest, I would bite in an antagonistic manner, being a prick. But then the more he, and you know, in his good nature, this is how good Brendan is. He would always give me a nugget. He would always drop me like a nugget. I'm like, you know, whatever. And I would, you know, me, I'm just like, all right, I'm going to try what he says. I try what he says. It works. I'm like, fuck. And he would keep doing that. You know, here we are. It's like,
you got to kill him with kindness. That's something my mom taught me.
You know, and granted, like, listen, I learned hard, right? I learned hard. I'll be the first to admit this. I learned hard. But everything that you've given me that told me, like, it works. It doesn't always work fast, but repetition and consistency of building like sort of the administrative side and the process, dude, it works. I can attest to that. Like, you know, I would not be where I'm at right now if I didn't apply a lot of the things that you gave me like a year ago to the business.
It's also just practical, right? You know, like
it is practical, but it's like not practical at the same time.
Well, when I say practical, right? Like a lot of people, I think society has just taught us bad concepts, right? Don't talk about money. You know, it's like, you know, it's the root of all evil. It's just like, says who? Like, money is an amplification of whatever you are. If you're an evil person, money is gonna just help you be more evil
with money.
You can just bomb more people or something. But if you're a good person, you're gonna help way more people if you have more money and access to more leverage. Yeah. And so, you know, Hormozi says it well. Every year you don't know how to make $1 million is costing you $1 million. And you know, I've been the self-starter. I can learn it on YouTube. My first business, I learned how to fix phones and computers on YouTube and just paying someone to learn really quick. And we ran that up to do close to $1 million a year fixing phones and computers. And so when I say practical, like, look at it from a mathematical perspective. If you can double your skill set, right, in a way where you can earn twice as much through shooting at the level JT is shooting and commanding a price and a premium because you are the, you know, de facto consultant and expert when it comes to helping an agent get more views and showcase the property to its potential. What does that actually do for you mathematically? Like, if you could pay JT $5,000 to learn everything JT knows and double your income, is that not worth it? Is that not practical? I learned it the hard way too. You know, I made the mistakes and I'm like, shit, like, if I could have avoided this mistake literally cost me $100,000 plus. I literally had a sales manager who was a piece of shit. You know, like, when I say a piece of shit, like, I paid him $100K salary and he withheld all of his training, saying, oh, you know, I did that on my own time. So if you want the trainings, you're going to have to pay me for it. I literally paid you $100K salary to develop trainings. And you're telling me you lead a sales team and you have no trainings for the last 3 years you've been at my company. Like, that's crazy. I mean, I blame myself for not checking in. But then, like, if I had just learned from a mentor and maybe that mentor or someone like ahead of me held me accountable to like hold my team accountable, I would have maybe avoided hiring him in the first place, or at least getting ahead of that 2 years and actually walked away with
Yeah.
something for all the time I invested into him. And it goes one step behind that in practicality. I just trained earlier this last year with Josh Lyons. He in many ways, he's still my sales mentor. It's not my focus right now. He trained Alex Hormozi's gym launch sales team. And, I gravitated towards him for a lot of reasons, but mainly because I'm Asian and I like math. I'm like, if this guy can help me increase my closing ratio, right? Like my closing percentage by, let's just say 20%. And I'm making $500,000 a year closing deals.
Yeah.
Right. If I can increase my closing ratio by 20%, I'll take that $500,000 and I'll make that $600,000 in 1 year. 100%. And he was asking for 12 grand, and which is a lot of money, but it's not. I made $100,000 within the first year. And actually it's more. I did the math. Like I'm pretty sure he helped me increase my closing percentage or batting average by 30-40%. And so I went from making $500,000 to making, 700,000. I got a 20x ROI by learning that skill in 1 year. And that's going to keep paying dividends every single freaking year. In 10 years, we do the math, right?
We were just talking about something similar to this offline. So JT and I both went through like a course, and we were talking about, like, at the time, most expensive course we ever did, right? You talk about real estate, all the investments that you have in this industry. You could buy gear, gimbals, whatever. You can buy the best cameras, the best lenses. None of it's going to matter if you don't have the knowledge to understand how to use it, how to put it to the action that it's intended to do. So both him and I, we go through this course. This is probably, what, 2 years now, JT? Been like almost 2 years-ish.
Yeah,
so
2 years, 2-3 years.
We go from, like doing okay, chugging along, being relatively confident, to now being like exuberantly confident in the industry. But also, not only that, it sort of transformed the product that we're creating for the customer, for the client, into something that is very desirable, like almost to the point where it's a frenzy. Like they have to have it. They want that product. And people have always asked me, well, how do you do that? How do you do? And I always tell people, I'm like, listen, I went through a course. I paid for that knowledge. I'm not going to give that knowledge up to you for free because I paid for that knowledge. I'm the one that decided not to invest in the gear and roll it out. I wanted knowledge. And for me, like what I'm learning now is understanding how to do something. The knowledge is more important than the gear or anything else. I mean,
there's a lot of free stuff on YouTube though.
There's a ton of stuff there, but again, it goes back to that formula, and that formula that helps you differentiate you from somebody else. Like those, like JT says, the hidden layers, man, it matters.
Yeah, it's so crucial to invest in yourself. Even investing in yourself also means spending time. Like free YouTube videos, don't watch Netflix, watch a tutorial on how to do something. That's an investment too. And for years, I think this context is also important to understand for anybody interested in my story. I lived paycheck to paycheck for so long, and it wasn't because I was just burning money. It's because I kept buying courses and buying books and buying everything I could possibly buy to learn every skill that I have now. And they've all, like you said, they pay those endless dividends, and they just sit there and stack up. Hormozi talks about developing that skill ladder, and I'm just continually putting a step on my skill ladder every 3, 4, or 5 months to continually improve my value to my clients.
It truly compounds. Like when I take my skill set, my ability to run ads, my ability to create an offer, my ability to actually have a back end with scalable systems and a team in place, I can build, like I have, Market U is an $80,000 a month business, and we did it in 2 years. Auto HDR, our AI photo editing, like
that's blowing up.
Huge.
I don't want to be braggadocious, but Matt said
no. But I'll brag for you, If you don't know, like people always ask, well, how do you edit video? How do you edit photo? And well, the easiest way to say it is Auto HDR. When it comes to photos, you set it up. You can buy credits. You can pay monthly. I mean, there are a lot. There's other softwares out there, but I don't think there's anything right now out there with the most cost conscious like options for videographers that are just starting out, that may not have a lot of capital, that don't want to spend a lot of money. Like, I think auto HDR, I've toured them all. Result wise and just turnaround time. Auto HDR crushes it. I'm super stoked about it. I use it like religiously every single week. We're using auto HDR to bail us out.
We just rolled out a better model, V2. You know, it's 99% dialed. Matt's gonna be at the founder, Matt. You know, friggin' child prodigy in my opinion. He's like 22 years old, and
Genius.
they're
Yes,
doing
genius.
30,000 edits a day with AI.
So
Also, shameless plug. You know,
Yeah.
Ken, you have your affiliate link. We're gonna drop your affiliate link in this. If you use the affiliate link in the description or whatever,
we'll tell
you
them
will get
what we're
an
doing.
entire
Tell them what we're doing.
entire free week of AI photo editing
Nice.
from Ken's affiliate link. And I think the whole goal of this, like, dude, if I had all the time in the world, I would just give it all away for free, because at this point I don't need more money. But one thing I learned is, like, if you don't pay, you don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much courses I even buy for like $50, $500, but those courses I don't pay. I only pay attention to the ones I spend 10K on now, because like I need to feel some level of investment to actually pay attention.
Yeah, it's got to cut a little bit, man.
Yeah.
If you don't get something back on there. But there's truth to that. There's truth to that in everything. That's why I'm a firm believer. I make people pay for pretty much everything, because you don't learn, you don't pay attention, you don't react. People react differently when there's a monetary investment in things, right? Like they're tied to money. Nobody likes loss where they feel like they're not getting something for something. You know what I mean? So that's a big thing. But auto HDR has really, for me, changed the game. It's like little elves that work in 40 minutes time, which is amazing. Like, once upon a time, we could not do same day shoots. Like, clients would ask me, like, again, I'm in a very competitive market, and anything I could do to stand out in that market is going to help. Dude, to be able to tell somebody, yeah, we can get those photos back to you, this evening before the hot sheet goes at 12 a.m. People are like, wait, what? I don't have to wait till the morning. They're blown away. And then they see the quality and they're like, okay, how? Like, what? Like, and we're charging a premium for that. We're charging a premium. So we're making the money back anyways by charging a premium same day. It's fucking amazing.
I mean,
I
that
absolutely
alone
love
pays
it.
for all your photo editing that day.
Pretty much, man. Pretty much. It's pretty good. So there'll be a link down below if you guys want to check it out. Auto HDR. It's amazing. If you haven't heard it, if you're just starting out, if you're still trying to edit your own shit, stop. There's better things to do with your time. And let the elves at Auto HDR handle that. But one of the other things too I want to talk about is what we have coming up. LA, both JT, myself, you, along with other guest speakers, are going to be in LA for the Masterminds event. Seats are limited. It's sort of filling up. I think there is still some availability. Brendan, what's that? That's the 18th and 19th in LA. Is that correct?
Yeah, July 18th and 19th in Los Angeles. We're assembling the Avengers of the real estate media industry. Like, this is where you meet your future business partners, your best allies, people that you can call in for favors. Like, let's just say you break a leg and you need someone to shoot. JT's gonna go ahead and shoot and double your invoice. That's the level of avenging we're gonna come in with. And there's just like there's something for everyone. If you're ambitious, you're looking to grow, and you're a real estate photographer, you're trying to scale up a media agency. There's Jenna and Matt at Vast Media. They're out in Tulsa, which is like I call it a mid-tier market. It's like a secondary market. The average home they're selling for, like, you can get a 5,000 square foot house there for like 400,000. It's crazy.
That's where I need to move to Tulsa, man.
they're doing over $1 million. They're doing over $1 million a year. And then we have Dustin McKibben at Fort Wayne, Indiana. I think their average home sells for even less, and he's doing I think almost $2 million a year. And then there's going to be some big heavy hitters doing, $300K, $400K a month out there. And then there's going to be a lot of like people that are carving a name out in their local market, doing premium listing campaigns like JT, charging $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 for a listing shoot. And it's just a great networking and connection, like, way to make a connection. And realistically, like, for how much the tickets are, I don't make money on these events.
No, it's covering the cost of hosting the event.
Yeah, it's just the
the
venue
last
cost.
4 events I actually spent money on to make
well, and
the event
that's
happen.
what I don't think people understand is like to put on an event. It actually is an event is a loss leader, right? An event is a loss leader. You're going to lose money on. I've seen it too many
The
times.
event is like buying bottle service at a club.
Right.
Everyone
Yeah.
feels good, and I'm here to make everyone feel good about being able to pop some champagne and be able to sit next to a DJ booth. But in reality, it's there to just kick off a cool relationship and meet some cool people. It's not cheap, but it's also compared to like what you'll get out of it.
There will be invaluable information on display there. It's 2 days. You're going to learn a lot in those 2 days. And not only that, you're going to be, front and center where, myself, JT is going to be there. So you're going to have direct access. And I think that's something that is often underplayed, is to be able to ask those questions directly. And you're not going to have to wait for an email. You're not going to have to wait for somebody to post a reply on Instagram or get lost in the noise of the online world. Like, we're there. It's real. And like Brendan said, you never know who you're going to meet. Like I said, you can meet your next business partner or your next ally. I mean, that's really what A-Car Partner is about.
Exactly.
That social aspect is so undervalued. I'll just share my
100%.
experience too from the Austin Mastermind. I went there as a speaker and I didn't fully know what to expect. I knew what the venue was about and what we were going to be doing. I walked away. I met Matt running Auto HDR. I had the same thought. I was like, yeah, child prodigy. This guy's a freak. Insanely intelligent. And I'm one of the biggest skeptics of AI because I use it. So I know its limitations really, really well. And working with him, I was like, man, this guy, he's the real deal. Everybody there is the real deal. Matt, Dawn, Adrian, everybody's the real deal. I walked away with so much value. And I think it's important for anybody from my audience or anybody that's familiar with me. If you're trying to build a volume agency, you're trying to build a big team, you're trying to build a big machine, absolutely, there is no better place to go than this. But if you're also trying to be a solo creator or somebody with a small team, a lean team, who just wants to charge more for an invoice, all that knowledge is also there. So it's really like best of both worlds.
Yeah. And no matter what path you're on, there is no right or wrong path. As long as you're in the green at the end of the month.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it's about. There is no right or wrong path. But if we can make that travel a lot easier, a lot more enjoyable, that's really what an event like this is for. It's to take that vessel and propel it further with a lot less energy. That's really what this is about.
And I recently attended a mastermind, and this guy who's far more successful than me, one of the things he talked about is you should die with zero. You're going to die with zero. Like, you can't take any of it with you.
Yeah.
But what he meant by that is you should spend all of your money before you die, because the concept is if you save all that money and you spent 4 years working for, let's just say you die with $1 million and you spent 10 years working for $1 million, you literally just worked 10 years of your life for nothing because you didn't even use that money. And so the best thing you can do with money, you can buy the Mavic Pro 4. It's pretty cool. Don't get me wrong.
Or they could just
you can spend it on experiences, because real talk, at the end of your life, the best thing that you can have on your deathbed is a fuck ton of cool stories. And if you got it, you got some stories with, like people in the industry that know the same challenges you're going through, that also have a VA that fucks up all the time, that you're trying to figure out how to manage them, that also is dealing with that crazy agent that literally we have some crazy stories where agents are trying to hook up with our staff. I'm like, yo, call the police, they're trying to lock our creators in a room. We got some sexy photographers out there. So, we have these stories that we can share and we can build together. And I literally met some of the coolest, like JT, dude. We had the time of our lives in Austin. It was sick. I was out at the bars with JT. I didn't know he knew how to get down. No one thought I knew how to get down. They're like, oh, this Asian guy, he probably likes to do math problems on the side. No, I love the party. It was a riot. So, if you want to have fun and you want to spend some money,
I'm stoked. And LA's going to be a good time, man. There's a lot to do out there, despite everything. I mean, I think it's going to be fun. I've never hit myself with the mic here. I've never personally been to Los Angeles. I've been to San Francisco, been to San Diego. I've never spent, other than just a layover in the LAX. That's it.
Los Angeles is whatever. The homies, the industry leaders that are going to be there, the friendships that are going to be made. That's why anyone thinking about going to LA, and also the riot's already over, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I mean it's done. Like the internet, that's what we were talking about. I think it was like last week. We were like, is this gonna be an issue? And like I was talking to Buddy, he's like, it's really not like what everybody.
It's already over. Like I literally over. Like I looked it up online. It's like no one's protesting, no one's breaking in.
We're on to the next issue. We're on to the next issue. So.
Anyway, it'll be. I can't wait to see you, Ken, JT, out in LA.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time, man.
We'll have the whole crew there. We're gonna have a little mansion networking for people that want to be there as well. So excited. Thanks for providing the platform today.
Yeah, no worries, man. Like I said, I want to get it out there. I want to see, just like you, I want to see people succeed. I believe that this is a really unique industry. It's an industry unlike anything else. I tell everybody, and even my employees, I said, there's no other industry where you can make as much as you want, essentially, and really you're still having a good time. It's like there's 1,000 things that are worse to be doing, and this is just a really unique industry where you meet a lot of people. It opens endless doors of possibilities, and it's there. And if you want to be a part of that, there will be links in the description below where you can check it out, sign up for the class. Like I said, seats are still limited, but if you don't get a seat, we're going to have online recorded versions that can be purchased as well and played back as many times as you want of all the speakers and presentations. So yeah, there you go. Acre Mastermind LA, 18th and 19th of July.
Yeah. Also, if you can't afford it and it is too much to swing at this point in your life, we're giving away free workshops as well. Shoot Acre Partner on IG a message, and we'll send you JT's last workshop for free. Like if we can help you double your invoice, hopefully the next one won't be so expensive.
That's what we want to see is more success stories of people like, that's what I believe is like more people that, gather that information, they're they'll believe in it.
Yeah, we have no value to gain if you're not improving your circumstances from this. 100%. So yeah, message me as well, and I'll help you get access to that recording if you can't get it from me.
Actually, yeah, message JT Visuals, because that's his brain. Like that's his brain, and
that's his brainchild.
All of his efforts and all of the value he gave away, just insane 100%. Value. Message JT Visuals on IG. Is it JT Visuals? That's the handle.
JT Visuals LLC. Yeah,
we gotta.
I gotta buy out whoever has the other one.
And get
you gotta buy out that person that's got JT Visuals.
Yeah, the guy who's been squatting on it, dude. He's waiting for it. It's gonna be a 7-figure handle soon.
Jeez.
JT Visuals LLC.
So if you have
on IG.
JT Visuals and you want to do like a swap or something, let us know. We'd love to tell.
Yeah, we'll give you 2 free tickets for if you have JT Visuals as a handle on IG. We'll
dude, if I ever have an idea for a handle, dude, I get them. Like even if it's just like a spur of the moment, like, oh, I'm registering this, because I know somebody as soon as it goes, like, forget it. That's it. Game over. All right. Well, thanks guys for watching. If you have any questions, drop them down below. I'll be answering them as I can. As always, send me an email if you need, or follow all of us on Instagram. We'll see you next time. Stay original.
I heard they checking for me, no one checking on me, so I had to go run up a check. I got the message on me, ain't no flexing on me, my attorney gon' call and collect. Blessings on blessings for me, my successes only made them envious, they got upset. I had to put all their egos in check. I want the money, the power, respect, and I heard so